Hello there, YouTube. Welcome to the first edition of Food for Thought in Your Clot. So, this is what I think. On today's episode, we're going to make uh, an, the assumption that there's a better way than taxation, as in a better way to use society's money than taxation. Now, I have several theories about this that I've just been thinking of. But personally, I think that taxation itself is just a corrupt practice in the way that it only allows certain people to call the shots in society while everyone else works for it. And so, that being said, I just want to make it out to you that this is not a denigration of the government or taxation. It is just that I believe that there's a more economical or a more equitable way to provide goods and services to the public other than taxation. For example, I have an idea like similar to Monopoly, where they have a community chest, and it would just be easier if, let's say, all of society, all the working population, let's say gives 0.5%, no, yeah, 0.5%, for example, of each paycheck that they make towards the community chest. Now, what should be done is that every time that there is a new deposit into this community chest, or every time it reaches a certain level, there should be a vote taken as to where to allocate the funds and what should be done with them. Now, personally, I think that's a better idea than a government single structured tax system, because when it comes to taxation, it is that certain people make all the rules. Anybody in those positions that handles the money of the government's finances would be preemptively positioned, if you will, to call the shots, or, as it were, decide who gets what out of taxation revenue. But in a community chest, for example, if you were to vote on the practice, and that being your money to begin with and not the government's money, then I believe that society would become more equitable at large and not perhaps have to do things like go into debt or borrow from other countries or run a deficit or anything like that. Also, there's the idea of what you would call like a blanket sort of structure as to how to better spend society's money. And what I mean by that is similar to communism, but not like communism, but similar to communism, how everybody gets paid an equal share of the tax revenue. It would be something of the nature where each person that works, and I'm saying that this could apply to a democratic society if people chose to institute it, not promoting communism or anything like that. But if people chose to use, let's say, for example, instead of you buying clothes for your kids to go to school in for out of your paycheck, they should have an allotment that comes from a universal fund based on perhaps the same idea of 0.5% of everybody's paycheck. And it is paid out to people for that explicit purpose. And I know that doesn't sound like it makes sense, but listen to this. That would prevent people like big box companies such as Walmart or, Sam's Club or Costco or whatever, from monopolizing the uh, the consumer base, as it were. So all I'm saying is these are two ideas of what I think are revolutionary ideas of how to manage societal finances. Now, that being said, this is not in any way trying to denigrate the government or bring down any kind of established order or anything like that. These are just two simple ideas that would probably be more equitable and more liberal in their approach to how to manage societal funding and finance. That is all. So this has been your boy Miles Power for Food for Thought, in your clot, and I'm out. Bye.